Paul was someone who certainly spoke his mind. He had a disagreement with Peter. But there's another one we don't really talk about much, and that is he had a sharp disagreement with Barnabas over John Mark. And Barnabas wanted to take John Mark with them as they went about planting churches. And Paul went, no, I don't want to take him. And Paul said, I don't want to take him because he left us. And I was just looking up that word. What does it mean that he left us? But when you look up the original word there, it means he deserted them. And we could say this, that it looks like that as Paul and Barnabas were planting churches, that for John Mark, it got too tough. It was too hard. And he didn't go, John Mark didn't go back to his church in Antioch. He went back to his mother. So when Barnabas said, I want to take John Mark with me, Paul said, no way. You know, he shot through on us at Pamphylia. I'm not bringing him. And the contention was so sharp that we never read again that Paul and Barnabas worked together, which I think's sad because a few chapters earlier, God said, separate me, Paul and Barnabas, for the work I have for them. So this goes to show that the early church was not perfect. I know we put it on a pedestal, but it was not perfect. Peter and Paul had disagreements and they withstood each other to the face. But Paul and Barnabas ended up not even working together. So they weren't perfect, and I don't know who's at fault. Probably both sides. We've all been there. But the thing is with John Mark, he deserted them and he went back to his mother. And then later on in Timothy, Paul says, bring John Mark with you because he's useful to me in the ministry. Now, I know that we could talk about that it shows you how God is redemptive and that, you know, God is the God of the second, third, fourth, fifth chance. I know that. But the point I just want to make is this, that for me, I can't help thinking that with John Mark, there was a lot of wasted years. And I wonder if he actually went back with Paul, was he thinking that I've wasted years? That when the going got tough, I shouldn't have shot through? And the reason I'm talking like this is I've got a decision to make in the next few months that will affect the next 10, 15 years of my life. And I'm going through what we all do, you know, what are the points for, what are the points against? You know, is God saying this? What is God saying? What's on God's mind? Do I have the energy to do this? Do I want to? What does God want? And what if I don't do this? And I was thinking about this as I was reading about this when John Mark deserted Paul. It's a strong word. He deserted them. It's something like he cut off relationship. And I'm thinking, if I don't do this door that God could be opening, is it God or is it not? I'm just weighing that up. If I don't go through that door, one thing I do not want to say is that I wasted the last 10, 15 years of my life. God presented an opportunity. If I went through that door, I would not have wasted the last 10, 15 years of my life. This is me. This is what I'm saying here. Is this what I could be thinking in 10, 15 years' time? So I'm just thinking of, with the years that I have left, I do not want to waste my years. I want the years that I have left to be a living sacrifice. Romans 12:1. I want my life to be a living sacrifice, which is my reasonable service. Some versions say my spiritual worship. And I want the rest of my days to be a spiritual worship to Him. I like the word reasonable there. Reasonable there doesn't mean it's a fair thing. It's to do with reason of the mind. In other words, we've thought it out and we've made a decision. Yes, I want to be a living sacrifice to Him. So this is one of the things I'm thinking as I make this decision, which I'd like to share with you, is let's not waste our years. Life is so short. In my family, there's been some deaths recently, and it makes you think that life is so fickle, it's so short, and I don't want to waste the rest of mine. Oh yes, John Mark was, God came through again and he had another chance. That's great. And that's God, isn't it? There's always redemption. But I don't want to waste the rest of my life. I want to do what God wants me to do. I want to harmonize with the Spirit of God and be a Father pleaser. What about you?